If you're always the nice guy, you're actually setting yourself up to fail. Here's what a 500-year-old Italian taught us about why being too nice is the fastest way to get walked all over, manipulated, and left behind. Look, I'm not here to tell you to become a terrible person. But Niccolò Machiavelli, the guy who literally wrote the book on power dynamics back in 1532, understood something about human nature that most nice guys refuse to accept. And if you keep ignoring these lessons, you'll keep wondering why you're always the one getting passed over for promotions, friend-zoned, or taken advantage of. First, let's talk about respect versus being liked. Machiavelli's most famous quote is, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Now, before you freak out, he's not saying you should terrorize people. What he means is that respect trumps affection every single time. Here's why this matters. When you're always the nice guy, always saying yes, always putting everyone else first, people stop seeing you as someone with boundaries. They see you as someone they can count on to never push back. And when people know you'll never push back, they stop respecting your time, your opinions, and your value. Think about it in your own life. Who gets their requests taken seriously at work? Is it the person who agrees to everything and never complains, or is it the person who carefully chooses their battles and speaks up when something matters? The second person, right? Because when they say something is important, people actually listen. The nice guy thinks that being agreeable makes people like him more. But what it actually does is make his opinions worthless. If you agree with everything, your agreement means nothing. If you never get upset, your happiness becomes expected rather than appreciated. I once knew a guy, let's call him Mark. Mark was the ultimate nice guy. He'd stay late to help colleagues with their projects, never complained when people canceled plans last minute, always picked up the check, never argued even when he disagreed. And Mark couldn't figure out why he kept getting passed over for leadership roles while more difficult people got promoted. Here's what Mark didn't understand. His niceness wasn't seen as kindness, it was seen as weakness. His managers thought, if Mark won't even advocate for himself, how can we trust him to advocate for his team or a company? This brings us to Machiavelli's second lesson, scarcity creates value. In The Prince, he talks about how rulers who are too generous end up poor and despised, while those who are more selective with their generosity are seen as wise and powerful. The nice guy violates this principle constantly. He makes himself completely available. He gives his time, energy, and resources to anyone who asks. He thinks this generosity will be appreciated and reciprocated. But here's the harsh reality, what's always available has no value. Think about economics for a second. If diamonds were as common as pebbles, would anyone pay thousands of dollars for them? Of course not. But because diamonds are rare, they're valuable. Your time, attention, and help work the same way. When you're always free to help, always ready to drop everything for someone else, always the backup plan, you become the human equivalent of a participation trophy. People appreciate you in theory, but they don't value you in practice. Here's the darkest truth Machiavelli understood, truly manipulative people specifically hunt for nice guys. They can spot someone with weak boundaries from a mile away, and they know exactly how to exploit that weakness. Machiavelli wrote extensively about how predators operate. They don't waste time on people who will fight back. They target the people who are conflict avoidant, who feel guilty saying no, who prioritize being liked over being respected. If you're always the nice guy, you're basically wearing a sign that says, "I'm easy to manipulate." Narcissists, energy vampires, and toxic people gravitate toward you because they know you won't set boundaries. They know you'll absorb their problems, enable their bad behavior, and make excuses for their treatment of you. And the worst part? While you're being endlessly accommodating to these toxic people, the genuinely good people in your life start to lose respect for you too. They watch you get walked all over and think, if he doesn't value himself enough to set boundaries, why should I value him? So what's the solution? Machiavelli would call it strategic virtue. This doesn't mean becoming cruel or manipulative yourself. It means being intentionally kind rather than reflexively nice. Strategic kindness means having standards. It means your yes means something because you're capable of saying no. It means you help people who deserve help, not everyone who asks for it. It means you're generous with people who appreciate and reciprocate your generosity, not people who take it for granted. Here's how this looks in practice. Instead of always being available, you have set hours when you're open to helping others. Instead of always saying yes to social plans, you sometimes have other priorities. Instead of always picking up the check, you let others contribute too. Instead of never arguing, you voice your disagreement when something matters to you. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but isn't this just being fake? Isn't this just manipulation? And I get why it might feel that way. But here's the difference: manipulation is about deceiving people for your own benefit. Strategic kindness is about being honest about your boundaries for everyone's benefit. When you have no boundaries, you actually become resentful over time. You start keeping score of all the things you've done for people. You get bitter when your niceness isn't appreciated. That resentment, that's what's actually fake. That's what actually damages relationships. But when you're strategically kind, you give because you choose to give, not because you feel obligated. You help because you want to help, not because you're afraid of conflict. And paradoxically, this makes your kindness more genuine, not less. Machiavelli understood something about human psychology that modern research has confirmed: people value what costs them something. When your friendship, your help, or your time comes too easily, people don't appreciate it. But when they have to earn your respect, when they have to prove they deserve your help, when they have to work for your attention, they value it more. This isn't because people are evil, it's because this is how human brains are wired. We're evolutionarily programmed to value scarce resources and to take abundant resources for granted. Your niceness, when it's unlimited, becomes an abundant resource that people unconsciously devalue. Let me give you some practical examples of how this works. In dating, instead of being available whenever she wants to hang out, you have your own life and plans. Instead of agreeing with everything she says, you have your own opinions. Instead of doing everything she wants to do, you suggest activities you enjoy too. At work, instead of saying yes to every project, you prioritize the ones that align with your goals. Instead of staying late every time someone needs help, you help when it doesn't compromise your own work. Instead of never asking for anything, you advocate for your own promotions and raises. In friendships, instead of always being the one who reaches out, you let others initiate sometimes. Instead of always being the listener, you share your own problems too. Instead of always accommodating their schedules, you suggest times that work for you. What happens when you make this shift? People start respecting you more. Your opinions carry more weight because they know you don't just agree with everything. Your time becomes more valuable because it's not infinitely available. Your help becomes more appreciated because it's not guaranteed. More importantly, you start respecting yourself more. You stop feeling resentful about giving so much and getting so little back. You stop feeling like a doormat. You start feeling like someone with agency, someone with value, someone worth respecting. But here's Machiavelli's warning: this transformation doesn't happen overnight, and not everyone will like it. Some people in your life are only there because you're easy to take advantage of. When you start setting boundaries, these people will push back. They'll call you selfish, say you've changed, try to guilt you back into your old patterns. This is actually a good thing. These are the people who never valued you as a person, they only valued what you could do for them. Losing these relationships isn't a loss, it's a filtering process that leaves you with people who actually respect and appreciate you. Machiavelli wasn't teaching people to be evil. He was teaching them to be effective. And the hard truth is that being endlessly nice isn't effective. It doesn't get you the respect, the relationships, or the success you want. It makes you a target for manipulation and takes away your power to create positive change in your own life. The goal isn't to stop being kind. The goal is to be kind in a way that's sustainable, respected, and genuinely appreciated. The goal is to be someone whose kindness means something because it's chosen, not compulsed. So ask yourself, are you being nice because you genuinely want to help people, or are you being nice because you're afraid of conflict, rejection, or disapproval? Because if it's the latter, you're not actually being kind, you're being afraid. And fear-based niceness isn't a virtue, it's a trap. Which one of these hit too close to home? Have you been the nice guy who always finishes last? Drop a comment below and let me know which Machiavellian principle you're going to start applying in your own life. And if this opened your eyes to how power dynamics really work, hit that subscribe button because we're just getting started with these uncomfortable truths about success, relationships, and human nature. Remember, it's not about being cruel. It's about being smart. And sometimes, being smart means understanding that unlimited niceness isn't actually nice at all.